Hello folks, hope you're all doing well. Anyway, first things first, I've got a new microphone on, so you might be able to see a wee fuzzy thing clipped to my jumper there. The last video I put up, sound was a bit sketchy, so I've invested in a new wireless remote microphone, so the camera and the receiver's all the way over there, I'm all the way over here, and hopefully the sound is much better. Not that big a test of it today, we haven't got a breath of wind, you can hear the birds singing, it's a beautiful day, but we'll give it a whiz anyway and see how the sound quality is. Hopefully it'll equalize as well, because when I use the handheld or when I use the tripod, the distance between me and the microphone can stretch, but with the wireless one, hopefully it should all be exactly the same, making the videos much better for you. Anyway, the reason we're here is we're going to do potatoes. It's about time we got them in. I've held off and held off and held off for the last few weeks because we've had overnight temperatures of -3, -4 degrees, and I just haven't wanted to risk them. So we've got two different types. I'm just going to grab them down here to show you, and I will walk towards the camera to show you them, and hopefully the sound will stay the same. These ones are red Duke of York, and hopefully you can see there they are really nicely chitted. They've been probably chitting for the best part of a month now, and they are looking absolutely brilliant. And the second ones we've got here, these are Pentland Javelins. They aren't looking quite so good, but they'll still turn out all right in the end. But again, they've been chitting for around about a month. I've had them on a north-facing windowsill in a cool room, so they've done an absolutely grand job there. So I'm going to do them in buckets. These are the first earlies. They're going to go in buckets for the first time trying these. These are the infamous 30-litre buckets that everybody goes on about. So we're going to give them a bash. I've got some topsoil prepped here, and some compost and some different things. It's not some sort of big secret mix, but what I'll do is I'll take you through me making up one of these buckets, how I'm going to put the potatoes in, and what I'm going to mix in and whatnot to show you how it's done. So first things first, we've got some topsoil here. This has been through this. I don't know if you've ever used one of these before. This is a Clark rotary soil mill. Oh man, it makes my life so much easier. If anybody's ever had to mill any soil or sieve it or anything like that, one of these things, it just makes your life so much better. I did a wee video about it ages ago. I'll put a link up there if I remember when I get back and put this together, so you can go and have a look at that. But absolutely brilliant. And what it does, I'll show you here, all these big lumps and stones and things, it's taken out of the soil, which is going to be brilliant for putting in the buckets. So we'll get a shot of that, and you can see here, that's a really lovely fine tilth from the soil. And the reason I got that to begin with was for doing things like parsnips and carrots. So the soil's really fine, doesn't have any bumps on the way down. So I thought, well, we might as well do it for the buckets for the potatoes as well. So first things first, in with the topsoil. I've got some bloodfish and bone here. Again, there's no secret scientific method here. I'm just putting, you know what, quarter, maybe it's a third of one of these boxes. This is a 1.5 kilogram box, so I've probably put about, what, 500 grams in there of this. And I'm going to mix that, just mix that in with my hands, so it's well in the soil there. That bloodfish and bone there, you can get it from all sorts of places. That one there was one of the special buys out of Aldi, so we got it pretty cheap, even though it's a branded Miracle Grow one, which is great. So that's all nicely mixed in. So what you want to do in the bottom of the bucket, I'm going to put about the equivalent of 2 spadefuls. So we'll pop that in there, some big scoopfuls with my hands. Maybe there's a wee bit more. Give it a shake, and I'll come over here again and show you about how much we've got in there. If you can see it, the light's not terribly good because it's a bit sunny. There you go. You can kind of see how much is in there. And what I'm going to do is pop this here. I'm going to, because they're first earlies and they're only going to grow to sort of new potato kind of size, not going to be massive, I'm going to put 2 in. If you can imagine a compass, I'm going to put them north and south opposite each other. So here we go, it's the first one. Chit side up, row side down. That's 2 in. Then, if I spring over here and get this, and I haven't opened the bag, bear with us while I find my knife. Here's one I prepared earlier. I always open my compost bags at the top like this, and I try to do it quite sort of neat and tidy, because I'll always use the compost bags for something else, whether it's lining the pallet collar raised beds, or whether it's carrying them over the field there to get wood chips or something like that. I'll always use them again. So if I don't make a mess of this, I'm going to pile a load of compost on top of them, just about enough so there's about 1 to 2 inches on top of those 2 potatoes we just put in, and again another 2 east to west, chits pointing up. One good way to try and do it, or remember it certainly, is where the handles are. So these buckets have got handles, so if you put your first 2 at the handles and then your second 2 opposite the handles, and that just helps you remember where they are. And then I'm just going to pile a whole load more of this compost on the top. Let's just have a look how we're getting on. Not too bad, so maybe it's about 2 or 3 inches off the top of the bucket there. And the reason I'm stopping there is I want to just apply a little bit more feed. So this is 6x, and I'm going to put this on the top, just a thin layer of it. It's really strong stuff, so we don't need loads of it. And what's going to happen is when the roots come out of the potatoes, they're going to go down and seek all of that blood, fish and bone that we put in that first layer. And whilst they're using that, when it rains or when I water these potatoes, it's going to take all the nutrients out of the 6x, this layer that I'm putting on the top there, and that's going to slowly soak into the water. Again, when the plants start to grow and when the potatoes are starting to grow, that gives them that extra burst of nutrients after that to help them keep growing. And finally, bear with me a second, I'm going to put some of this on the top. This is called squelch, and if I can find my knife, that of course I've instantly lost as soon as I've put it down. Back with you in a second there once I've found it. Well, I couldn't find my knife. I don't know if anybody else ever does that. Do you just put stuff down at the allotment and completely forget where it is or lose where it is? And the next time you come along, you'll find it. But if I'd looked in the first place, I'd also have noticed the squelch has actually got a sort of string tie thing on the top, and I can just pull it and it opens up. Anyway, enough of that. So I'm going to whack some of this squelch on. It's a sort of straw kind of mix, and what that does is 2 things. One, because these it's quite dry and it gets everywhere, because these are in buckets, it doesn't retain water as well as it does if it's in the ground. So the squelch, the sort of straw on the top, is going to help retain moisture because it'll stop the soil drying out as quick, keeps it shaded from the sun, and once you've watered it, it doesn't evaporate and sort of disappear. The second is squelch is meant to deter slugs. Not that I've seen potatoes get attacked by slugs much, but you know, any little helps. So that's it done. 1 bucket, 4 first early potatoes, topsoil, blood, fish and bone, compost, and some squelch on the top. Good to go. Well, that's me pretty much done for now, folks. The potato buckets are in their final resting place where they're going to stay for the rest of the season. Hopefully in around about, I don't know, 12 weeks time, we'll get some potatoes out of them. One thing I have done is I've given them all a good water. The compost that I put in there was as dry as the Sahara Desert, so they've all had a good watering can full of water. And what else I'm going to do, the temperatures are still, they're a little bit dodgy still. We're still probably going to get -1, -2 this week, so I'm just going to pop some of this agricultural fleece here just over the top of them, just to keep the chill off them for the next week or so, and then we'll uncover them and let them get on with it. Anyway, if you like what you've seen today, please give the channel subscribe or a thumbs up, leave comments below. We'd love to have a chat with people, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now, folks.